I just want to thank you. My name is John Sammon. I want to thank you for attending our SEO, the 16 Marketing SEO Basics webinar today. I have an extensive amount of experience doing search engine optimization, and my goal for this session today is just to really help you learn some of the basics and give you some starting points. I'm going to go for about 20 minutes here, and then I'm going to leave somewhere around 10 minutes for questions. As always, if you have any questions for me, you can reach out to me. You can email me. I'll give you my contact information, or give me a call. I love this stuff, so I'm happy to talk to you about it. So with that in mind, let me jump into the presentation here. I will move FaceTime out of the way and get into the SEO basics. So I'm going to keep this in my editing PowerPoint mode just because it allows me to bounce between a couple different things that I want to show you today. So we're going to start today's session out by talking about, when you think of search engine optimization, you think of the island of Malta. Well, probably not, but just to throw you a little curveball here, I'm starting off our session talking about Malta because this is now an example of a business that we've worked with and helped. Their target geographic area before working with us was Cleveland. And now that they've invested in search engine optimization, have had some extensive content changes and website changes, and because of that, they're not getting business from not just Cleveland, Ohio, they're getting business from all over the globe. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that without teasing it too much here. This actually happened for a company called Bruening Glass Works, which is a small crystal repair shop in Cleveland, Ohio. And when you always want to, right, in any kind of marketing plan, you always want to look at and establish and document the before. Well, when we started working with them, they virtually got no work outside of Cleveland, Ohio. They were doing a lot of local, traditional focused marketing. Their website was essentially 6 pages, with one page being a gallery page showing their before and after. So they would help you if you have a vase or a wine glass or a chandelier, something that broke that you needed and you wanted fixed. You could actually ship them to it, and they can fix it for you. What we did, well, we did some SEO consulting, and we'll talk about these a little bit more in our session here. But what we did was start by targeting and researching and identifying the most relevant and high volume keyword phrases to their business. So those were crystal repair and Waterford crystal repair. I'll show you their website in a second, and it helps kind of tie everything together. But really, beyond identifying those terms and optimizing the site for those terms on key pages, we addressed a shortcoming of their website, which was the content structure. This repair shop repaired all kinds of different pieces on a daily basis, and it made the most sense to us to actually write and blog about each of these repairs in an individual blog post, showcasing the before and after and chunking up the content. That's why, and that way it was easier to talk about the specific repair, and Google was able to not only identify it but match it to a person's search. You can look at the results. This is on a monthly basis, and this is over the course of about 5 or 6 years, the comparison, but it's telling. When we started working with them, 283 visits a month to now somewhere just under 7,500 visits, and this is just looking at last month's metrics. And then from an overall standpoint, this year, they really got no response from their online website before working with us. And now the website averages somewhere around 295 leads per month, which is incredible. It's transformed this business into being a small repair shop that serviced Cleveland, Ohio, to now something that services everybody across the globe. And I'll show you the website really quick. Right, this is Bruening Glass Works. This is Mark Konis, the owner, and he's a lot busier these days, thanks to some of the work that we've done in consulting for him. So one final thought on this. I mean, I don't know what level you've been exposed to on SEO, but it's a huge thing that can literally, you can walk in the door. If you're doing it for a business, you can change their business dramatically. And this was one of the first SEO projects I worked on in my career. and it made a huge impact, and it was extremely rewarding on where I chose to focus my efforts in getting to be and focusing on search engine optimization, and that's where it's gotten me where I'm at right now. Just a quick plug, right? I got to plug the business. For us, we are Six City Marketing. We are a Cleveland-based ad agency. We are home of the world champion, undefeated preseason Cleveland Browns. We're not going to talk about the regular season. We're just not. But we've helped businesses get more traffic through the internet through a variety of different channels, those being search engine optimization, pay-per-click marketing, and social media marketing. And here are some of the things that we focus on in a campaign working with clients: showing value through data and improvement at leads. And that's why businesses hire us, to get us more business, not traffic. Traffic's great, but if it's not driving more leads, we're not doing our job. And I tell people that all the time. And again, that's the mindset that I'll be, that I've formulated some of these strategies from, that I'm sharing with you today. And we love Google Analytics. We're huge nerds. I'll get into that in a little bit. Not necessarily all about us being nerds, but about Google Analytics, right? So what is search engine optimization? Again, just starting with the basics, AKA SEO, AKA organic search engine optimization. Content marketing is another term for it. It's the process of improving a website or a web page in search engines via the natural or unpaid way. And I'll show you the difference between the natural and paid ways in a second here, illustrated visually. You'll be targeting Google, Bing, and Yahoo, and this is actually the breakdown of the market share. It's very interesting, and a lot of you may have guessed that Google owns the majority of the market share. But Bing has a nice share as well, and that's been growing over the last few years. Usually what I've found is that's the channel that you get the most traffic to your website through on an ongoing basis. So if you don't have a website statistics program installed like Analytics, once you install it, which I highly recommend you do, you will see that organic search traffic is the #1 referrer of traffic into your website, or that's what I find typically when I'm working with client websites, even before they start working with us. And it's the opportunity to target non-branded keyword phrases. So keyword phrases that aren't relevant to your business name. So for Mark's business, Bruening Glass Works, we would be targeting non-branded, so crystal repair, Waterford crystal repair, anything that he should be ranking for his name, as well as you should be it too. If you're not, that's a whole nother issue, and you definitely need to reach out. Happy to help. But this is the opportunity to target non-branded keyword phrases. And just to illustrate, if I did a Google search, Ohio MBA, the breakdown of what search engines show you, the ads, it's a little bit harder to see modified it so you can see it a little bit more closely. You can see that I've highlighted the paid ads in red, and then underneath are the organic listings. And the breakdown is somewhere around 60% click on the organic and 40% click on the paid. So some people are quick to dismiss paid, but it's actually important as well to have presence there if you can be in that realm with having a budget and that sort of thing. But organic is definitely the one that is clicked on the most in the research that we've done, and it's very effective. So search engine optimization campaign. So when we're starting this out, it can start reading some things and it can be extremely intimidating. So the common question that people ask me is where to start. Search engine optimization is a function of marketing, and so we need to treat it as a marketing campaign. So we sit down ahead of planning our campaign and establishing that before and after state, and we look at it, who's the audience, establish that, where are they located, what are the goals for your website. So usually it comes down to, from the people that we work with, generating more inbound leads, more sales, and what do you think your audience is searching for? Trying to brainstorm keywords, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But all of these will shape the direction of your campaign, especially the location. That's something to keep in mind, because if I'm just focused on Cleveland and I'm not worried about someone in Indianapolis, I'm not going to put up a billboard in Indianapolis. So I don't want to target those people in Indianapolis. So I need to narrow my focus of my keyword list. And what would a John Sammon afternoon SEO presentation be without a Seinfeld reference? So I've got the measuring success in SEO, taking care of business. Metrics that we review to show our success. You want to show that you're taking care of business by reviewing some of these key elements. Google Analytics, I mentioned before, some elements to look at: overall traffic and traffic from search engines. Keyword positions. So we've talked about keyword phrases, but we haven't talked about something that's really important: where your website ranks for those keyword phrases. And improvement in response, again, focusing on those leads or sales or purchases, or whatever your focus is that you want the visitor of your website to take. And in the SEO approach, as you get into this campaign, once you've established those things, I'm going to break it down into 3 things, right? Because again, just starting points. Let's talk about Onsite. So we'll talk about keyword phrases, content, your sitemap/architecture, and then Offsite, inbound links. I'm sure you've heard a lot about if you've done some research or talked to people about SEO. But something you may have not have known or talked about is social media is really important. So we'll get into that as well. And then something I'll call SEO maintenance, which I'm kind of throwing out there as a next level, kind of the next phase on if you can get past 1 and 2. Again, I'm really trying to keep this focused on, helpful starting points. So let's talk about content and keyword research. Really, this is just a brainstorming exercise, to be honest with you, to start. So I have my clients, I sit down with them and I say, tell me 15 to 20 non-branded keyword phrases that you feel your target audience is searching for, and you write those down. And, where to begin on that is, again, you have to put yourself in the mindset of the person, your customer or the target audience that's searching for something that would lead them to your website. What are the things that they would be looking for? And I would encourage you to be a little extensive in this exercise, even though 15 to 20 wouldn't be categorized as extensive. But think of broad terms. So for Mark, it was Mark and Bruening Glass, it was crystal repair, and something specific like long tail, or what people in the industry call long tail terms. So these are, I have 3+ phrases. It's words, 3+ words. Phrases that are longer than like 3 words. So for Mark, it was antique glass repair, Miami, Florida, something along those lines. Again, it's notable that I brought that up. If you're focused on a specific region, include the city and state in the phrases. And I'm not going to get into, I'm giving you the link for the tool that we use. It's the Google Keyword Planner. So if you haven't heard of the Google Keyword Planner, this is an element of Google AdWords, which is Google's paid program that you can run advertisements. We saw the ads listed on the previous screen. You can actually do your research in here. And, we can all brainstorm over keyword phrases, but what we really need to find out is whether anybody's searching for them. And this tool can tell you that. So I'm going to open it up here. And I've already jumped into, you can see I'm in Google AdWords, and I've got I've just typed in, this is the starting point of brainstorming and research. I've typed in crystal repair, antique glass repair, Waterford crystal repair, and these were keyword phrases that Mark had identified as being important to his target audience. And so I can scroll down and show you, right down below, it shows you, here are the terms, and if they have any search volume, the average monthly searches globally, these are the specific keyword volumes of those terms on an average basis. So you can see I've checked these. I'll go down below, and so this gives me the exact phrases. If I scroll down below, it gives me other relevant phrases that I might be interested in. So replacement terms, crystal glass repair. I'll just say if I deem that being important, I'll click on this arrow, and you can see it adds it to this right-hand side, my keyword ideas, and this allows you to download this list of keywords into an Excel spreadsheet. And if you're doing everything correctly, you will look something like this. And, once you have them in there, you can sort descending by the average monthly searches, and then it's, wow, look at what I need to prioritize in terms of the keyword phrases. I had no idea that someone was searching this much for this keyword phrase. So this is compelling when I show this to clients as a sample, but even more compelling is I'm jumping ahead a little bit, is if you take it out to the next level and see not only what the keyword phrase is, how many times it's searched in a month, but where you rank for it, where your website ranks for it. And then what else is important is what page is ranking. Because our search engine optimization, and I tell my team this and I tell our clients this, it's 50% about getting people to the website, but it's just like you've experienced, right? At some point in time, you do a search and you come to a website, and if it's not what you are looking for, you're going to leave. So it's really important to match keyword phrases to pages, and that's a key component to getting ultimately what you want, which is a lead. So I'll jump back to my PowerPoint presentation. We talked about ranking in that previous screen, and when I talk to people about where they rank in search, it's often that they try to identify where they rank organically or naturally by just doing a Google search. And you guys are smarter from this point on, because when you do a search, Google and the other search engines are personalizing what you see in the search engine listings. What you see when you look at your screen. So, and it's personalized based off of your browser history, what you've searched for in your location. So by doing a Google search and seeing where you rank on what specific page is actually not an accurate way to show where you're at. You need tools to be able to show you where you actually rank for stuff. So I've listed a few tools here, and again, as part of being a part of the presentation here today, I'm going to send this presentation to you so you'll be able to explore with these tools. But SERPs is the one that I recommend. It's what we use for our clients, and you can not only see where you rank separate from this personalized search, but you can see where you rank in a region separate from a personalized search, and that is incredibly important, especially if you're targeting a very, very specific area, which a lot of people are. When we get into individual page optimization, right, we've got our keywords, we've got our keyword bank. Okay, John, what do I do with these keyword phrases? You want to start by optimizing pages that are relevant to the keywords on your website. And this is jumping ahead a little bit, but to start, you'll map terms to specific pages. And I'm starting out down below in my last point, which is you can start by optimizing your home page, or I often recommend service pages, degree pages, if you're in education, or product pages. We typically, for any page that we write, I have a in-house team of 4 writers that write somewhere between 350 and 1,000 words of unique content for each page. I know, it's crazy. Where do I start with that? I would say to write a lot of chopped up short paragraphs, bullet points, lots of headers, and that's opportunities to incorporate keywords in. And I would say to just add keywords to pages naturally. Just make it an effort to incorporate them into your titles of your pages, subheaders, and adding an instance of it in there sporadically. One of the other things, and I'm not going to go into detail about it now, I've linked to it within the presentation, is to make sure that you optimize page titles and meta descriptions on pages. That is ultimately what Google will look at that, but they'll look at everything on the page. Trying to think of what else I haven't. So it's crazy. Google has changed so much over the years, but something else to keep in mind, we've talked about making sure that we're matching relevant pages to searches. You might want to consider adding infographics and videos, because that helps the user experience. Because beyond the content and adding keyword phrases into pages, Google will look at how much time people spend on pages, how many different pages they look at, and whether they actually fill out your form or not. And that is all through Google Analytics. So I know that's a lot, but it's a starting point, right? Writing content and implementing content that has keyword phrases within it will help improve traffic to your website, even if that's where you take away what you take away from this. Offsite factors. So I know I mentioned link building. I'm actually going to kind of just mention that very briefly here. I don't know, and I mentioned this again ahead of the presentation. Social media has had more and more of an impact in how search engines rank you. So what we recommend to clients is not only, and we do this on behalf of clients, is not only creating social media presences and having active social media presences, but having engaging social media presences. I know that's a mouthful, right? It's a lot of work, right? But it's really important that these search engines are trying to grasp whether you are influential in the area that you're writing about, and trying to target. And this is one of the ways that they do that. It's hard to cheat, and people in the past have cheated link building. It's hard to cheat people liking your stuff in social, sharing your stuff in social. So interactivity is really important. You know, how do you start with that? Asking questions, doing polls, and then also video is extremely important. So I would encourage you, if you have any kind of video, upload it directly to Facebook. Typically, for specifically Facebook, Facebook provides, they provide more of a showcasing of videos in the news feed or the timeline. And you'll see that a lot of videos, and I see this for not only our website, but for our client websites, video is really, really important because you'll see that it's the most viewed and often the most interacted with content that you can post on your website. Generating quality links, you know, what I would suggest is creating content on your website that is strategic, that will compel people to link to it. So we recommend a lot of top 5 lists, top 10 lists. In some instances, we'll go out and research people that are relevant to your industry or what your products are, and we'll make top 10 lists. We'll write about those companies and we'll share it with them, kind of doing a PR outreach, and ask them, hey, listen, you know, this is something we feel, you know, if it's more of just a showcase piece about them, hey, did you see we featured you on our website? And often they'll share that in social media or possibly even link to it. So it's something to keep in mind with trying to generate content that gets quality links from external sites that are relevant to you. Let's go one final thing. So this is the kind of next level stuff. It can be a little technical, but at the very least, and I know a lot of this for a lot of people that I talk to and educate on this, because I've taught this in a higher education environment as well, exposing students to SEO. It's just, your mind just explodes. You know, but the one thing I would emphasize from this slide, and this gets into a little technical stuff, I would say you want to make sure that you install the Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools on your website, because they give you an understanding, what I would call a behind the scenes look at how Google and the search engines look at your website. They'll tell you if they see any errors, like 404 errors of pages that may have been published once and have been taken off. They'll give you a heads up on malware. They'll allow you to communicate with Google. So if you find out that Google's not seeing all of your pages, you can, I'll just say at a high level, exchange messages with them to tell them, hey, listen, you're not showing or listing 100 of my pages. Can we take care of that? So those are things that you can do to make sure, because the more pages you have indexed by Google or listed by Google, the more opportunities people have there are out there for people to find you. Some of the things that I would recommend to you, and these have been kind of in the news quite a bit over the last couple of years, making sure that your website is responsive or adapts to mobile devices. That can get you a huge uptick in traffic from the search engines. And if you have a separate mobile site, I would encourage you to make plans to move away from that. Because again, whether you don't have a mobile friendly website or you have this separate mobile site, you want to move away to one site that responds to devices, because the search engines love that and they'll reward you for that. And then finally, this is something that'll make your eyes cross. Here's going to talk about SSL, more acronyms. SSL, the search engines wants you to implement this. So if you've gone to your banking website, right, and you'll notice that when you go, you go to like chase.com, you'll see up in the top left-hand corner, there's a lock there. That is something there, and you'll see that there's another character in the domain that says HTTPS. That is something that websites add to provide an additional level of security to it, to help prevent the data that's being exchanged with them, to help prevent hackers from getting that. So you want to implement that, because we've done that for clients. It's Google and the search engines trust your website if you do that. If you have a WordPress website, in some instances, hosts will provide you with a SSL certificate for free. So it's something you definitely want to take advantage of, because that's another quick win way to increase traffic to your website through search engines. With that in mind, I know you're chomping at the bit to ask some questions, right? So I'm just going to encourage you to, get into this, implement these things, try to establish a before and after, and plug and play. I mean, really, you have the metrics there to show whether you're making progress. And as you make content edits to pages, you can see how the performance of those pages have changed, and even drill down to whether search engine traffic has increased from the pages that you change on your website. And that's something you can explore in Google Analytics. I did a webinar last month on Google Analytics, so if you didn't have a chance to attend that, I can that is archived, and we do have that on the web, and I can share that with you if you want to reach out to me. I'll be happy to provide that to you. As part of, here's your party gift, right? Or the swag, if you will, for attending these the webinar today. I'm offering anybody that attends our webinars a free strategy session. So, I'm offering you this, in the strategy session. It's a 1-hour strategy session. The types of things that we'll look at, we'll have these kind of high-level discussions about your website, your target audience, what are the goals of your website. We have the ability to review your website analytics and provide high-level insights on those. Talk about and establish some search engine optimization key terms and show you where you rank for those. And then, there are things, we work with clients on an ongoing basis to help improve traffic and leads, and there are things that stand out right off the bat when we look at websites that you can change to make a quick win impact. We are under the gun. Clients hire us to improve traffic and leads, and we are under the gun to produce. So, if we can share insights with you in that respect, and if you're interested in working with us on a longer term than just an hour, we'd love to talk to you about that as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to open it up. I think everybody can see that there's a chat feature. I'm going to open up the chat on my computer, and if anybody has any questions, fire away, and I can address some of the SEO questions that we have with the time remaining. Everybody's shy. That's okay. I'm happy to go into anything else on detail. I would really encourage everybody to, really explore analytics, or learn a little bit more about analytics, because that is really the backbone of search engine optimization and showing the value of what you're doing, both on the traffic side and the lead side. If anybody else, I know that it's almost Friday, right? So I'll type into the chat if anybody has any questions for me. Well, it's actually on the screen, right? You can email me at john@sixcitymarketing, and my number, this is my cell phone number. Please don't prank me in the middle of the night, although I would probably appreciate it on a very, the old college self in me would appreciate it at a high level. I'd love to talk to you about SEO. So if anyone else doesn't have any other questions, I'll just say thanks to everybody for attending, and good luck in moving forward in all of your SEO campaigns. Thanks a lot.